In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how you can create smudge painting but without actually using smudge tool. So let's get started. Hey, what's up guys, Dhruval here back with another video, and as you can see this is the final output, but to be honest that's not the final, but this is the final output. But I decided not to include this texture part because it will be another tutorial on its own. So I'm gonna mostly focus on actually making this a really silky soft skin and how to make this painting look like painted look hair. And this is the original file and this is the final output that we will create. Now before you start actually working on your file, you have to make some changes. Go to your edit option and there you have this last option. This is preferences, and there you have camera raw, as you can see, the last one. Now in the camera raw, as you can see in this JPG, there you have this automatically open all supported JPEGs. So you have to select this third option and then hit OK. Now once this is done, go to your file option and open whatever JPG file you want to open. So I'm gonna go and open this JPG. Now here you can see that it actually opened it inside camera raw even though it was JPG. So you can actually do that and it's really useful. Now this is already edited, so let's go and make it default. So as you can see, this is the file. Now whatever file you have, this is the mostly what you will end up doing, okay? Now my image is really dark, so I'm gonna add a little bit of exposure, not too much, so that's enough. Now you go and make your highlight -100 and go and make your shadow +100. Then you start playing around with your whites, and also increase the exposure. Now this things, they always depend on what kind of image you have, okay? So as you can see, this numbers might not match even my older numbers, but doesn't matter. You need this type of look, okay? You understand, I hope. So this is the default, and this is what we edited. So you can go and make it slightly more brighter, but I think this seems enough. Yeah, so that's good. Now once this is done, instead of directly opening the image, hold down your shift key and then select as open object. So now when it's open, but here's the good part, double click on it and you can edit it anytime you want. So that's one really big advantage. Now on to the actual trick that I wanted to show you. Now I've seen a lot of videos on this subject and many of them were really good. But one thing I noticed that everyone was using either smudge tool or directly this regular brush tool. Now regular brush tool painting can be really tough because even I suck at that to be honest. So what I like to use is mixer brush tool, and you need at least Photoshop CS6 for that. That's why CS6 is in title. So after selecting your mixer brush tool, go and create a new blank layer. You can rasterize it and directly paint on it, but that's not safe. So create a new blank layer, and in my options, another reason a lot of people don't use mixer brush is because they don't know how to use it, and it's really underrated tool. So go to your options and select moist. Now everyone has their different effects. Go and try out whatever works for you. So I'm gonna go with moist because that works really good. Now all you have to do is zoom in and make sure that this option is checked. This is sample all layers, okay? So now I'm gonna go and select a really soft round brush. Whenever you are going to paint on skin, a really soft round brush should work really good. And we will start by painting on his nose because that's one of the little complicated part. So notice how I paint, okay? Don't go and start painting like this. This will ruin the image. You have highlight here, so go paint it like this. As you can see, you can probably also listen to my mouse clicks. So go and start painting like this. Then once you are done with that, go and start painting here on the darker area like that, and keep painting until you get rid of all the textures, and then go and do the same thing here. And if there is edge like this where you can't paint, just hold your click and make it round 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 and it will go good. So, and as you can see, whenever I'm changing the shape, I'm also changing the direction of my strokes, because now the nose is on this way, so I'm doing it this way. Okay, like that. So now if I turn it on and off, as you can see, now it looks a lot more like a painting instead of regular nose. But here's the thing, like, we messed up and there is a lot of strokes going outside. Do not think, simply grab your eraser tool, make it smaller. I use my bracket keys to make it smaller and bigger, saves time. And then just go and simply erase it where you don't need it. That's it, simple as that. If I turn off my model layer, as you can see, this is what we painted. That's why this tool is awesome. Now this way you have to go and select, let's go and select mixer brush tool again, right click and you can open it. So let's go and start painting it again, and this way I will go and paint his entire face. Now when I turn it on and off, as you can see, it looks more like painting instead of regular face, because there is no texture and it's a little bit flat. Now same way you have to do lips, eyes, jacket. Don't worry about the hair and the facial hair, don't touch them at this moment. So for the lips, now the same way to do your lips, create another blank layer, select your mixer brush tool, everything is same, and make sure this option is checked, and you just go and simply start painting on the lips. When on the highlights, make your brush just smaller and paint on the highlights and then paint on the lower things. Now I'm not gonna waste time doing eyes and lips and everything, just be careful and paint it gently. I'm gonna use the layers from the older file. So as you can see, my lips and eyes are done, and let me zoom in on the eyes. So as you can see, eyes. Be careful, do not mix up your iris with this white part, because that will totally ruin the image. So the lips, the skin, the eyes, everything is done by the same method. When it comes to hoodie, you have to do the same step. Create a new layer, make sure your mixer brush is on, but this time I'm gonna use this brush number 60. Why? Because as you can see, there is some kind of texture on the hoodie. It's not plain like skin and lips. So this will allow you to create different type of effects, and there is every kind of brush, and there is even more brush. So select your brush properly and take your time and start painting exactly like this. So as you can see, this time instead of making it let's say directly flat, it maintains that kind of texture, but at the same time it also looks like the painting. So when near the edges, make your brush just really small and try to maintain the shape. Don't change the shape way too much, or well, it will be useless. So I'm gonna do this part and this part. I'm not gonna fast forward at this moment, so you can see how things should be done. And a little bit here and here. Do not mix this up like this, okay, because that doesn't look good. Take your time, make tiny moves, one thing at a time, like that. And the same way you paint everywhere. There's nothing new to it, it's the same method, just different brush and little bit more care. So I'm gonna use the same file like I did the last time. So as you can see, I have painted the entire hoodie here, and I just did it again and again to get even more softer look. But if you don't like look this soft, don't do it a lot of time. So nothing new to it. Hoodie, lips, eyes, everything is done. Now let's focus on the highlights. Now you say, what kind of highlights? Because we painted with mixer brush, the skin looks a little bit flat and not glossy that you find normally in what you call oil paintings. So to do that, create a new blank layer here. Now you have to go to select and then go to color range. Now in the color range, find one of the brightest spot, and that would be normally nose, like most of the time. So select this white part here and then increase your fuzziness until you start to see basic shape of the face here, as you can see, like that. And once you think it's good enough, don't go overboard like this, just a little bit, okay? And then hit OK. Now this is done. Select your paint bucket and make sure you have white color and fill it. Go to select and go to deselect. So as you can see, you have that white color, the highlights. Now it's really rough, so you go to filter, go to blur and go to Gaussian blur. So it will start to fade a little bit, but you have to fade it too much so that it doesn't look like a distraction and more like part of the face. So now it looks much better after the blurring. Hit OK. Now as you can see, the effect is way too strong, so I'm gonna just go and make the opacity somewhere around like 50-60%, whatever your taste. So now as you can see, now it looks much better. Now I will do it one more time. So use only if you are getting good with it, okay? Otherwise completely avoid this step. Even I can mess it up. So this one alone also looks good if you wanna keep it. So as you can see, let's go and keep this on and let's keep it to somewhere around 60. Now this has started looking much better. This is without highlights, this is with the highlights. Now comes the final step where we will change the hair and the beard. Now you can do the beard and hair exactly like using the brush tool, select a textured brush and paint it, but I found even easier method. So to do that, you go and create a new blank layer like this, and then you press Ctrl, Alt, Shift and E. So as you can see here, it created a JPG of the same file inside the document. Now once this is ready, you go to your filter and then you go to oil paint. Now if you don't have oil paint filter, you can download it from Adobe's website. I will link it in the description so you don't have to worry about it. So to do that, first thing, let's go and make the stylize 10. In the scaling, I would try to keep it at minimum, and the basic details doesn't matter that much. And angular direction, mostly it's about shining, so I would like to keep it minimum so you don't have that really heavy texture, you get it. And in the details, yeah, that seems fine. So most of the time it is going to be 10 10 0 10, most of the time, not every time. And this doesn't matter since we don't have any kind of shine. So let's go and simply hit OK. So now if I turn it on and off, as you can see now, beard, hair and everything looks really painting-ish. You can keep it on entire image if you like the look, but I seriously don't like it on the eyes and it doesn't look that good. So what I will do is apply a layer mask, and then I will grab my regular brush tool, right click and select the regular brush one, and there select this black color in your brush, and since you have this layer mask, remove it from the parts where you don't like it. So as you can see now, the eyes look a little bit more sharper, that gives more edge. And you can also remove it some parts from the hoodie, and you can also remove it entirely from the background, like that. But on the rest of the part, if you turn it on and off, it looks really good. So now comes the final adjustment since all the painting is done. So create a new adjustment layer and select vibrance. Now add touch of vibrance so that we can get like a little bit more punchier skin tone, and then go and create another adjustment layer and I will select curves. In the curves, just go and simply make entire image brighter, and then drag it to the highlight parts. As you can see, this is brighter, so drag it up like this. You can use levels if you are familiar with that, doesn't matter. So now if I turn it on and off, as you can see now it looks much better. Now let's compare it to our original file. As you can see, So this is what we started with, and this is the final. So I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. I tried to make it as simple as possible, and if you have any kind of questions or suggestions, feel free to ask me in the comment section below. You can also click on any of these boxes to check out more of my videos, and you can subscribe to my channel, so every time I upload a new video you will get the update. Plus, when you click on that subscribe button, it will take you to my YouTube channel where I have more than 90 free Photoshop tutorials just waiting for you. So till then, goodbye, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.